response to that?
Well, I do have a response, but first I'd like to have Chairman Cameron respond to that budget concern that you had earlier.
And Governor, if you don't mind, I want to go back a couple of questions were there. You know, I started this session about 6 foot tall and 120 pounds. And I've gradually been beat down to this size, so.
120 pounds?
Yeah, give or take a few. This session has been very stressful, and it's certainly been very stressful on the Joint Committee. The Joint Committee's, in my opinion, has done an admirable job given the circumstances. We had great representation from the minority as well as the majority, and I can't tell you a group of people that worked harder to try and minimize the effects of this budget. There's none of us that like the budget. There's none of us that like the effects of the budget, but it's our constitutional responsibility. Everybody in the committee took that responsibility very seriously. We had a number of votes that were 20-0. There were some votes that weren't that way, and certainly the minority had legitimate points to bring up. The majority had to prevail, however, and make sure that we balance the budget under our Constitution. Now, you asked a question about special session. We've really given the governor the tools and the ability to handle if fiscal year 2010 gets worse, or if the revenue in April comes in below what's expected. We've given him the tools to balance fiscal year 2010. In my opinion, he will not need to call a special session for fiscal year 2010 unless really the wheels get severely worse. The problem then occurs for fiscal year 2011 because part of those tools entail allowing him to reach into 2011 and pull budget stabilization funds and economic recovery funds forward to 2010. And based on those decisions, based on how tough that is, then we'll obviously work with him and help him make those judgments. The governor still has a number of other tools at his hands. He still has access to the Public Education Stabilization Fund without our authority. Obviously, he still has the ability to issue a holdback, but it becomes more and more difficult as we have spent those reserves and as we've made those budget reductions to issue holdbacks. I don't know how you issue a holdback on health and welfare and corrections, for example. I think that could be very, very devastating to those two agencies. So we'll work through it. We'll take it one step at a time. I think it's important for us not to get out in front of where the economy will be. We'll watch the economy. The governor and Lieutenant Governor are doing a great job with economic development. We hope that will continue. And I need to say one other thing. The smoothness of this session, in spite of the stress, really is attributable, in my opinion, attributable to the governor and to legislative leadership, both on the Senate and the House side. As a Joint Committee Chairman, I have never felt the kind of support that I felt this year from both the governor and legislative leadership. They worked together, they cooperated together, and yes, there's always disagreements. That's natural and it should occur, but the overall end goal was still the same, and that was to do the best we possibly could for the citizens of Idaho given this budget crisis. We stand ready to take on the next phase should it come. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.